Okay, perfect. All right, let's get this going. So welcome everyone. My name is Annabelle Pacheco, and I am a real estate investor, broker, been in business for 24 years and part of a global company called eXp Realty. Really my goal is to share with everyone the steps that I took in purchasing my own, my first multifamily deal. I bring in guest speakers from the multifamily space to share with us and just really expand our knowledge and share with us opportunities that we may not come across on our own. I encourage, and I really, really encourage everyone to participate, ask questions. This is a safe platform. I mean, we're here, you want to share information and you just want to learn from others. And I'm trying to keep this a really, safe place. I am not selling anything or offering anything. I am not a financial advisor. I am just sharing my story with everyone in hopes that you guys can, get inspired and go out there and do this for yourself as well. A little bit about myself. I started in the mortgage industry in the mid 90s, refinancing, doing a lot of loans at 9 and 9.5% interest rate, which is crazy right now. I mean, I know rates are high, 4.5%, 5%, but that's still such a great interest rate. Compared to, I think we all got spoiled the 2 and 3%. I don't think that was going to be forever. But anyway, so 9.5 interest rates. I was refinancing and did a ton of those loans. Purchased over 100 properties throughout my career. I did a lot of rehab and flips, and through those came across 2 to 4 units as well that we kept and managed for some time, and then obviously sold. In 2001, we deviated a bit. My husband and I deviated a bit from real estate, built a 150 capacity restaurant from ground up. We had full staff, 15 people, including managers, chefs, and servers, and ran that business for about 8 years. And when I was able to turn over the key to the new owner, that was like the best feeling ever. Restaurant business is definitely a very stressful, not as rewarding as real estate has been for me. That's for sure. You have to have a passion for restaurant. The last 10 years, I have focused my business in representing clients in both the residential and commercial real estate world. And I purchased my first multifamily property, 34 units in Texas in 2015. And I've expanded into El Paso, 310 doors, and Houston, 180 doors. And also have gotten myself involved in a hotel development in the Los Angeles area and a 300 space parking structure in Los Angeles, California as well. So definitely, have been busy figuring a way to create cash flow and just invest. And really one of the questions that I had asked myself for a long time was like, how can we make our money work for us? And multifamily was really like, it was it. It was at least for me, it was my thing. And here are the reasons that, and I'm sure for many of you, it's probably the same, or it can become the same. So number one, it was cash flow, right? I was looking for a property, or I was looking for something that I knew that I could count on that monthly cash flow. Number two, it was loan pay down, right? With multifamily, your tenants are paying off the loan and you don't feel it because you're factoring in all the expenses, right? All the costs of carrying this property. It's just paying itself off. Three, appreciation, right? Here's an opportunity to buy a property that is going to, can you guys make sure you mute yourself? Yeah, there's some background. You guys can mute yourselves, please. Appreciation, right? You're banking on that this property is going to appreciate over the long run. And it does, right? Because multifamily, you are actually investing, you're going to rehab or improve the property so that you can create additional income so that that property's value goes up. Then there were tax benefits. Depreciation is one, which allows you to expense a portion of the physical structure each year. And the 1031 exchange, which allows you to defer that capital gain tax. And there's no limit. You know, as long as you find you have a deal to go into, then there is no reason why you can't 1031 exchange. Now I'm going to give you guys an example of my first deal and how things went down with that. I purchased what we call a value add opportunity. Okay, and this value add opportunity, give me 1 second, I'm adding more people in, so just one quick second. This value add opportunity means, and I put the definition here for those that are not aware or don't know. It's a strategy that involves buying the worst property in the best neighborhood and then increasing its net operating income and the value of the property through renovation. Okay, and that's the beauty of multifamily. Multifamily is very different than residential, residential, right? If you, can I, well, hold on a second. I need to. Okay. Needed to mute a couple people there. Let's see here. So it's a strategy where you can increase the value by its renovation. Okay. And what I purchased 34 doors for $850,000. And this was back in 2015. Okay. Why, Jess, can you help me here? Because there's some background noise. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay. So purchased a property for $850,000. Okay. I, at that time, had negotiated with the seller who happened to be, so the property was listed. The owner of the property was an agent. I was a buyer. I was an agent. Came across this property. We began negotiating and he agreed to seller finance for me. And we did a 2-year note and I gave him $350,000. And then he financed the additional $500,000. Now, the beauty of this is it would have been very hard for me to go out and get a loan at that time because this property wasn't producing it just wasn't producing. But I knew that I needed to go in there and definitely improve, like rehab, improve it and increase those rents. And so to stabilize the property. And so what I did those first 2 years, I went full force and I started fixing up the property. And by year 2, I was able to refinance that property. The property had appraised at almost double of what I bought it. And I was able to get back about $1 million. So I got back all my money plus a little bit more. And that property today is worth $2.8 million, 2.7, $2.8 million. So here we have, this is obviously this is a beautiful description of how all deals should be. However, they're not all right. They're not all this way, but this is a good idea of what a value add opportunity is. So any questions so far? Because I know I've said a lot.
I have a question about the down payment. So what is typically the equity required to do most multifamily types of investments?
So traditional financing, are you saying traditionally?
Either traditionally
Right.
But from a bank standpoint, if I'm trying to do this very same scenario, this very same structure, you came up with $350,000 down payment on an $850,000 acquisition price, right? And so that's a hefty amount of equity. So what my question is, instead of me putting down 41% equity,
Right.
what do you see as the typical, kind of equity required from a bank?
I would say 25, 30%. I mean, at least minimum. And it's going to just depend on the property, what the property produces. And, but I would say 30%, probably 30%, 25 to 30%. All right. Any other questions? All right, cool. So here's a picture of the property. 24 doors, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. That's one building. And then we have another building, which has 10 units, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. So today I have a special guest. Let me stop sharing this. I have a special guest, Sam, and Sam Newell. He's with the Multifamily Investment Club. I have known Sam for over, gosh, I want to say maybe 10, 12 years, right, Sam? And he runs a very successful company, and I have invited him here to share some investment opportunities that he is currently working on, and just kind of wanted you guys to get exposed to additional and larger opportunities that are out there right now. So Sam, welcome to the call, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Annabelle. And again, I love your story. You made such a great decision to buy that Dallas property. I remember back when you bought it, you guys were going out there doing work yourself, and it was a little bit sketchy. I'm actually at a flip right now. As you can tell, the walls behind me are orange and yellow, and I still flip homes here in Utah, and then we buy the bigger properties out of state. But no, I love your story. It's I don't know. Have you already done a case study that you've published yet? But
I haven't.
It's a pretty cool one. It's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, no, I haven't yet, but you know what? I mean, it was definitely a great learning experience, and it just everything that I've done in life in this business just kind of led me to that. And it wasn't that difficult. I mean, when you're doing rehab and flips, and I'm sure you can attest to this, it's now easier because now you're dealing with just one building, multiple doors, right? So it's the same thing. We're able to get a better deal, right? It's just faster.
Yeah, like our El Paso property, I just got off a property manager call today, and we're 87% occupied, remodeling 13% of the units every month on average, 10 to 15%. Our investors are still making a nice little 5% cash flow during a heavy rehab period. You can't do that with a flip.
Yeah. No,
but I do these flips here in Utah about 1 a month because we have money and we have a great flipping partner, and they make money.
Hey, I wanted to be a part of that flip, so you gotta let me know for the next one.
We're looking at 2 today, so I'll let you know.
Let me know.
Yeah,
let me know. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd love for you to share these opportunities and what you have going and what you're working on with this group. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I loved the question earlier. What are you putting down for down payments? And it's the better the property, the less you need, or the more upside. So like today, we just secured a loan for the next Cleveland deal, 80% loan to value, and they're financing 100% of the rehab.
Awesome.
So really cool loan. I mean, rates are higher than they were last year, but the El Paso property, really good upside. We put 25% down on that one. We bought it for 10.9 million. And they also financed 100% of the rehab and 7 years interest only payments. So it's a 10-year loan, 7 years, we don't have to pay any principal, which is great because like you mentioned, and you mentioned something really important, we're forcing the appreciation because we're renovating the units, increasing the net operating income that income that comes in every month by raising rents after the remodels and forcing the property to appreciate, along with an amazing appreciation market because of inflation. So we're looking to follow in your footsteps and probably refinance out most or all of our money in the last about 1,000 doors that we've purchased in the last 3 years, thanks to a really cool remodel opportunity, value add opportunity, along with an increasing market. So that's what we do. Excuse me. We buy multifamily properties. Our smallest is 18 doors. Our largest is 340. We did just offer on a property in Nashville for $150 million, just shy of 1,000 doors. So we're growing for sure, but it's all the same. And you mentioned another thing that was really, I liked, the bigger they are, the easier they are. And so we do these dumb little flips that I'm sitting in because they make us that nice little cash flow in between the bigger deals. It's fast money in, money out, making 20% on our money. But long term, we only want to be doing big deals. And I actually started a podcast called Recession Proof Real Estate Investing. And so I love that you're focused on multifamily, because all of the really successful big time investors, they've had a resounding answer and sentiment when I ask them questions on my podcast. And it is, I wish I'd never done small deals. I wish I'd jumped into the bigger 30, 40, 50, 100 unit deals faster. And so I think it's great that you're educating people on that. And we're finding, honestly, that anything under 150 doors, we don't really want to mess with, because it's so much easier 150 doors and up, because you have a nice pool clubhouse, amazing amenities, better employees, you're more scale. So anyways, we love it. I love what we do. We're buying 75 doors right now in Cleveland. We're closing in 2 weeks. We just absolutely love the Cleveland market because of biotech, med tech, and the Cleveland Clinic, which is the #2 hospital in the world. So we're chasing these recession resistant markets and submarkets, like the submarket in Cleveland that we're in. We're in El Paso and Dallas, and now writing offers in San Antonio. Just closed one yesterday in San Antonio, 340 doors. I think that one's pretty much full, but I'll go over that one really quick, just so you guys
that'd be
can
great.
Kind of see what we purchased there. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see Timber Hill Commons okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So, about 6 months ago, I told my team, my acquisitions team, I said, you know what, there's got to be some builders out there that are leaving some money on the table when they sell. I really want to look for those opportunities, because what happens is a builder will build a nice, beautiful community like this, and he needs to get out of that high interest rate construction loan and refinance into a long-term loan as fast as he can. And he has to be 90% occupied to do that. So as soon as he starts finishing units, he'll fill them with whatever tenant basically can fog a mirror, to get to that 90% occupied mark, so that the bank will give him a refi. And so this guy built a beautiful community, amazing amenities, well thought out, great location in San Antonio. And he left about $250 per door, per apartment, on the table. So he filled the units fast, and we're buying this property, and it's value add as a management play, as a leasing play. We'll take our management team in there and do better advertising and start renewing leases at about $250 to $350 more per month than
I
what.
didn't get off of her other job till 3. Something like that.
Told me okay.
Oh, can you?
Somebody needs to
hold on a
mute
second.
themselves. That's okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So anyways, that's where we're at. A really cool opportunity. Most of our properties, though, are older, need to be remodeled, haven't been remodeled in years. Our Cleveland properties, 30, 40 years since the last remodel. I actually found something really interesting today, Annabelle. We have a tenant that has lived in our property in Cleveland since the Vietnam War.
Wow.
He got back from service from Vietnam, and he has not moved since. It's a great submarket, a great location. And he said, hey, I know I'm getting a deal. Can I just stay? And we said, well, we'll remodel your unit. What do you want done? And he said, oh, I don't really need much done. I'll pay market rents though, because I love where I live.
Wow.
So that's what happens when you buy in a good location.
Yeah.
You don't have to kick people out. And actually what's happening in these two different Cleveland locations that we're in is we'll have someone move out of this unit and move them straight into a remodeled unit.
I was just going to say that when they love the community, yeah, there is no reason to go out and find a completely new community. They'll upgrade and they'll pay market rent and they'll go to another unit right in there in that same complex. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's funny because they're like, oh, dang it. Yeah, I know I'm paying way less than I should.
Yeah, they know it. Yeah.
They know they're getting a deal. But, these properties have been in the family. The one that we closed on last October for 50 years. The mortgage has been paid off for 30 years. So they had no reason to raise rents. This other one, he's had it 30 years, the one that we're closing on in 2 weeks. And his dad gave it to him and he just hasn't needed to raise rents or remodel units because he's been cash flowing and just cashing those checks.
Yeah.
So really cool opportunity. So Timber Hills is a little bit different. Really great part of San Antonio. And actually, we just saw an article. San Antonio has had in all of Texas the biggest rent bumps in the state of Texas from any other city. And so they've always been a little bit behind Austin, Dallas, Houston. And now they're seeing a lot of that growth that Austin has been seeing, that Dallas has been seeing. And so we're thinking we're going to blow out our pro forma. We're going to have much higher increases than we thought we would. So we're banking on a 3 to 5 year hold, $100,000 minimum investment for our investors. We're thinking 23% returns, IRR in the 16 to 18% per year. We do an 8% preferred return, which basically means it's not guaranteed, but we don't get paid every year until our investors get their 8%. So if you invest 100,000, you're getting 8,000 a year. Now the first year is going to be around 5% because we're still increasing those rents. So if we give you less than the 8% on any given year, we've got to catch it up on the next year before we get paid. So it's a really great way to keep your operator, which is me, honest and accountable, because I want to make money really bad. And so I got to make sure you guys make your money and get your returns before we do. So that's how we do most of our deals. The Cleveland deals, you're going to be 6 to 9 months before we send out any cash flow because we're remodeling so many units. And then, a 7 to 8% pref as well. We're buying this property, or we just bought it for $68.8 million. And looking at selling it, honestly, we'll sell it in a year or 2 years if we need to, but not really sure what the market's going to do, but we're probably looking at selling it in the 80 million range. And so if you can see my mouse, it might be a little bit small, but if cap rates go up with interest rates, what they probably will, maybe we only sell it for 75 to 79 million. But if rents continue to do what they're doing, probably 83 to 88 million. And that's how we're getting that 16 to 18% IRR number. And right here is a schedule for the potential cash flow. So over 10% cash flow by year 3. But again, we're very, very conservative. I think we'll do that by year 2 with the way rents are going. Now, when you look at these numbers, I started my podcast called Recession Proof Real Estate Investing. And probably the number one reason people invest with us is because we're very conservative, overly conservative. And we want to be able to look at, this is our projected P&L. We want to be able to look at a P&L and say, you know what, if COVID variant XYZ comes out and really shuts us down again, or some type of recession comes, how vacant can we be, or how low on collections can we be and still pay all these bills, all of these expenses? And so we will never buy a property unless at 20% vacancy, or with 20% of the people not paying their rent, we can still break even. Now, the worst part of 2008, 2009, 11, 10, 11, people, their income on these properties dropped 10, 15%. So we know where it was in 2008, and we've given ourselves even a little bit more wiggle room in case it gets worse than 2008 did. We know multifamily crushed it in 2008, did fantastic, but still we want to be conservative with your money, with your hard-earned investments, and just never have a potential of losing capital or being in a sticky situation. We want wiggle room. We want lots of wiggle room. And that's probably the difference between us and most syndicators, most fund managers, is we're very, very conservative and we do less deals because of that, but we sleep really well at night. During COVID, we were fantastic. No issues, sent out distributions during COVID, and just slept really well at night, knowing that we had very conservative properties doing very well. So there's not a whole lot to do. Usually this is the part where I'd show you all the repairs and different things we're going to do. The units are beautiful. There's really not much to do other than the rain gutter spouts were installed incorrectly. And that's probably a 1-day fix for the whole property. That's the only repair item we're looking at, other than maybe adding some furniture at the dog park. Beautiful property though. So
Sam, I'm sorry, how much did you guys pay for this?
68 million.
And so what's the price per door?
So I want to say, oh geez, you had to ask.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let me pull out my calculator. I thought we were at like
$68 million is a lot of money, and I'm just trying to like say, okay, what's that dollar per door?
I think we're like don't quote me, 190 something.
Okay, so 190 a
202. 202 a door.
202 a door. Okay.
Yeah, for a property that's 2 years old. And
that is very good. Okay.
We feel anything under 250, we feel like we're getting a steal. But again, he left a lot of money on the table because rents are low.
Right.
So that property, our raise is done. If anybody drops out and doesn't wire in the next few days, if anybody's interested, I can let you know. We have a waiting list for this one. The next property we're raising for right now closes in 2 weeks. There is still space in the next Cleveland deal. We love Cleveland because it's been a very stable market since the 1960s. I mean, they had they've had different industries come and go, and it's in just a very good position as far as stability goes. You don't see the type of market growth that you see in a growing location like Dallas or even El Paso's growing pretty well, San Antonio. What you see is a huge amount of medical jobs. And we have found out through owning other properties like our Cincinnati property and even Albuquerque and a few others that, man, these medical type tenant bases have been fantastic. And through COVID did very, very well. While other people were trying to figure out how to work from home or maybe didn't have work, these nurses, surgeons, hospital employees, they're going to work every single day because they're needed. They're not seeing a slowdown at all. And so we love being close to the different hospitals and medical centers. El Paso, we're 1 mile away from the hospital, and we love having nurses. And the other cool thing, it's kind of a joke, but the other nice thing is if you're, renting to a surgeon or a nurse, they're never home. So they're never home to trash your unit. They're working crazy hours, and med students, we have a ton of med students, they're never home. They come home to sleep for a few hours and they're gone. It's not like they're throwing parties and anyways.
That's nice.
So yeah, we love this property. Now the upside on this one's a little bit crazy. This guy inherited this property. It's 2 buildings, 75 doors. We've already proved the rental market because we already have over 400 doors there in Cleveland. So we know we can minimum get $1,200 a month. And actually today we just found out we're renting a lot of units that we've remodeled for 14, 16, and in some cases 1,800 a month.
One bedrooms?
One, two, and 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
Mostly 2 bedrooms is what that number's at. Now our underwriting on this property is 1,200. So this is a really good deal. If we can just hit 1,200 on average, we're going to blow a pro forma out of the water again on this one. I think we're going to hit an average of 1,600. And we don't even advertise those numbers because honestly, they look fake. They look too good to be true. So we advertise our kind of average numbers. And so let me go through that. But this is a typical value add deal. Really good location, one of the safest submarkets in Cleveland. Cops don't mess around here. We actually got told that by the tenants and the property managers. So that was good to hear. And we already knew it was a great location, but cute old brick buildings. They've exposed brick on the interior. We're doing a 7% preferred return on this deal. We believe we're going to average 20% per year returns or better. Our average yields are 15 to 18% per year. This property has a huge amount of upside because right now rents are average 700. So we will be doubling or more the rents once we remodel. 4.6 million purchase price, 61,000 a door. To give you some perspective, we've paid 95,000 a door in Cleveland. We've paid 71,000 and 80,000 a door. This one needs a little bit more work. I'll show you some videos and stuff, but pink 1965 bathrooms and just it's super outdated. So we're only raising about $2 million. So we're about done with that. We can only accept accredited investors, which means, we're regulated by the SEC. And you have to make 300,000 a year if you're married for the last 2 years or have a net worth over $1 million. I'm sure, Annabelle, you meet both of those requirements. So good job. And then 50,000 minimum investment with us on this deal. We're actually doing a maximum investment of 100,000 on this property because it's going to fill up so quick. We want to get everyone in if we can. Now, this is a cool number, 100% return over 5 years. Our goal on these value add deals is to double your money every 3 to 5 years. And that's a fun thing for me to say, is to say, if we can just double your money, and ideally we'll do a refi instead of sell this property in 3 to 5 years. And we'll be able to pull out 100% of the cash or more. So, and that's a non-taxable event. So at that point, you have zero risk left in this investment because all of your money's been returned to you. You can then redeploy that capital for more cash returns and also write-offs, tax write-offs, which these create huge tax write-offs. And you've got an infinite return at that point. And that's our goal always, if we can, with these heavy value add deals, is to create an infinite return where you've got no money in the deal, but you're receiving a check every month for cash flow. And we can just keep refinancing it forever. My favorite story of this is a guy I met in Florida recently. He owns 4,000 doors in Philadelphia. He bought them in the 80s, and he's done cash out refi on some of them 7 to 8 times now. Every 4 to 7 years, he'll pull more money out, do whatever repairs he needs to do, and just holds on to them forever. And so he uses that money to go buy other buildings. And that's what the sophisticated, smart, really experienced multifamily investors do, is rinse and repeat, refi out their money, hold on to the property, go buy another one. So that's always the goal. Any questions on that strategy?
Yeah, I'll open it up. Anyone have any questions? No questions? Okay, well, I have a question.
Sure.
I know you're saying that you guys, your goal is to refinance and pay investors back as much of their initial investment, right, into the property. But
Yeah.
at what point do you guys decide to sell? Like, what makes you guys decide to sell versus refinancing the property?
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to get you your money back so you can compound your investment as many times over a 10-year period as possible. So if we can't refi enough of that cash out, then we'll just sell. Because what we don't want, the law of diminishing returns says you leave your money in a property, it's not earning any more returns for you. We can't do that. We don't want to do that. So we'll never leave equity that we've earned in a property for more than 3 to 5 years. So if you have to sell because we can't, maybe interest rates are too high, maybe we're in a recession and we can't refinance for enough, then we'll go ahead and sell. And ultimately, I don't care what we do. The goal is to get you as much as we can. And again, be able to compound your investments as fast and build that portfolio as fast as we can over a 10-year period. So it just depends on where we're at and what the market allows us to do.
Okay. So is this the Cincinnati property?
This is the other Cleveland property,
Oh,
actually.
I'm sorry, Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So this is the other Cleveland property. As you can tell, it looks a lot different when we get done
Wow.
with it.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're going to keep a few of these pink bathrooms. It's back in style right now. Add some black hardware and
Oh, that'll be nice.
we let our I'll have to show you. So one of our partners, the property manager, his wife is actually a contractor, interior decorator, and she's the one doing. So that's Nadia. Jason and Nadia are married, so she's actually the one doing all that, and she makes these units look good. And I'm not all for the pink, but she said that it's in style, so I trust her. She makes them look good. So we're gonna hopefully get some pictures soon of a remodeled retro pink bathroom
Nice.
with a pink toilet, even has a pink toilet. So
Wow.
no. And so again, this property may not hit 7% the first year, probably won't actually, because we'll have a high amount of vacancy on purpose to remodel units. Probably hit it in year 2. For sure, get way past it in year 3. Plus, we'll catch up whatever we didn't hit in year 1 and 2 in year 3 and 4. By year 5, I mean, absolutely crushing it. Now, I have 20 to 21% return. I think with the way we're seeing rents, we're going to be in the 25% range, but we don't say that because, again, it sounds too good to be true. And then I think years 2 and 3 will be much higher on the cash flow side, just based on this month's leasing on our other Cleveland properties, based on just actually this week renting for $1,600 and $1,800 a unit on our other remodeled properties. So it's exciting. We love Cleveland, and that's it.
So if someone wants to connect with you, you want to put your contact info there on the chat?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And does anyone have any questions? I mean, this is your opportunity. This is how we learn, right? Don't be embarrassed.
Someone
Yes.
typed a question.
Okay.
No one said, Larry said, I'm in Cleveland. Love to hear about your Cleveland strategy. So Larry, we love Cleveland. It's a stable market. We love stability, and we love medical. That's our strategy. We love medical. There's biotech. If you live in Cleveland, you know about it. It's gentrifying. LeBron James helped with, popularity as well. And there's a lot of people putting money into Cleveland. But biotech, even since COVID, we've seen an increase. And then like we have, if you know Case Western, Larry, we actually have for other property over in the other side of town, we're doing a contract. We'll probably have about 200 students coming to us for housing in the next few months from Case Western itself.
Wow. That's awesome.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Larry, anything else?
There is another question. What's my monthly cash flow going to be with an investment of 50,000?
Yeah, so if we average 8%, that's 4,000 a year. So we pay out monthly, so 4,000 a year divided by 12 months. Now that's at 8%. By years 3, 4, 5, we're thinking we'll be higher than 8%. The first few years probably be a little bit lower because that's what happens when you're doing a value add strategy. You're constantly having 15, 20% of your units vacant in order to get those remodeled. So but yeah, if let's say we average 8% per year, which is phenomenal, then you invest 50,000, you're getting 4,000 back every year. Did you just do a calculation on how much that is a month, Annabelle?
$333.
$330 a month. Now the cool thing about these investments is 8% is really good cash flow. You're appreciating, so you're actually going to get about a 20% average. When we sell it, your average yearly return is going to be close to 20%, which is really hard to beat in the stock market or anywhere else. On top of that, we average about 50% back to you in tax write-offs. So if you invest $50,000 this year, we would send you a K1 with a loss of about $25,000. And that counts towards passive income. So potentially all of the income you make on this property would be tax-free for 7, 8, 9 years, depending on the individual tax situation. So the 20% return doesn't even include tax write-offs because I don't want to get sued for giving tax advice.
Very good. Any other questions? And you know, something that I can add is 7 years ago, you would have asked me if I was going to invest with other people, and I would have said no. That's not my thing. I like to do, you know, my own thing and just kind of be in control and I still do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still do a lot of my own things, but I realized that in multifamily, you really do need to connect with others if you want to scale and if you want to grow faster. And and that's what I have done. And I've invested with Sam, and I think at the end of the day, you have to feel comfortable with who you're going to invest. You know what? Call them up, talk to them, ask questions, get referrals. I mean, I vouch for Sam because I know Sam. I've worked with him. I know his ethics. I know how I know Sam, and I feel comfortable investing. And I'm just going to say to everyone on this call, you want to do that. Sam's obviously not the only one out there doing this. There's so many people and so many different opportunities, but just, you know, do your own due diligence, feel comfortable, understand where you're investing, right? You got to have, I think it's important to understand the area that you're going to invest and just do your own research, you know, aside from whatever information is provided to you. And it's a wonderful thing. It's great. I mean, I get my monthly check and I love it. Actually, I haven't even cashed my check, Sam.
Oh, you're one of those. I gotta call the bank every month and see who hasn't cashed their checks.
I'm sorry. I promise I'll cash it when I get back. I'm in Dallas.
We're moving to ACH, so
yes,
that'll be nice. But no, that's great advice, Annabelle. And what I would say is it's really important you vet the group. Right. You know, we're very conservative and we're also transparent. And then you also want to vet the underwriting. So what I do is more education. I like to help people understand our underwriting, what we do to figure out if a deal is worth doing, if it's going to make money, if it's, you know, recession proof, and what are the assumptions. And because what I've noticed is people really want your money, and they'll say almost anything on one of these nice little offering memoranda to get your money. And so we're the opposite. We try to kind of scare people off if they aren't committed to investing in multifamily. We want to be very real with you and tell you the risks, but also educate you and help you understand what to look for. If you're looking at other deals with other people, I'll say, you know, let's talk about the exit cap. What makes someone like me too aggressive? You know, what does that look like in the underwriting? And if they won't show you the underwriting, or if they justify why they're being ultra aggressive, maybe think twice about investing with that person. And so what we do is we'll email you the underwriting, we'll walk you through it, and we'll show you. You can talk to our lender and ask the lender why he thinks it's a good deal. But you know, we have over almost 2,000 doors now. We've raised over it's got to be $65 million in the last 3 years. And most of that is because we're ultra conservative. Most of that's because we're like that. We don't mind being transparent and helping people make the right decision. And if it's with us, great. If it's not, at least we're able to educate you and share a little bit.
Yes, I love it. Any questions? This is an great opportunity. We've got Sam here, who's like a pro in this. So I really would like for you guys to just open your mics, ask questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I am an entrepreneur. I own multiple manufacturing businesses, right? And so I'm interested in getting into real estate investing. And I'm not an expert. This is not my field, Sam. So I just had a question. Why would I use your firm versus me as an independent kind of investor going out and buying my own multifamily property?
It's a really good question. If you have access to the deals we have access to and the ability to take down these type of properties, then do it on your own. Absolutely. You'll make more money. Most people do not have access to these deals. For instance, this property we got in that we have under contract, we got it under contract because of our reputation. And we actually were the third highest bidder. We weren't even the highest bidder, but we got it because of our reputation in Cleveland with these sellers, these owners who know that we perform, they know that we don't mess around, that we're going to close. If you have the ability to manage a property like this, 75 doors, I don't like, those are too small, but we already have 400 doors in Cleveland. So we have scale. And so the manpower and the time it takes to manage a 75 unit facility, there's not enough money in these deals. You're probably making great money as an entrepreneur. There's not enough money in these deals for me to manage and take time for a 75 unit deal. There's just not. So scale is a huge part of that. And we can make you more money because of that. And you have less risk. Now, also, someone slips on the ice and falls, they're not calling Larry. Larry's not getting sued.
Right.
They're calling Sam and my team. If COVID variant XYZ comes out and shuts the country down, the bank isn't going to Larry to ask you to make sure the mortgage get paid. They come to Sam. And so that's what a limited investor is. You have zero liability legally or financially for these properties. And a lot of my investors are just like you, Larry. They are business owners, very successful. They don't want exposure like that. They really don't. And they also don't have the time. If you're running some, multiple businesses, you're probably pretty busy. I've got heart surgeons and people like Annabelle who crush it in real estate, making a ton of money and doing what they do best. So the answer is usually the reason people don't invest with me is because they want control, and they will forego higher returns in order to maintain control and buy smaller deals. And that's okay. Some people need that control, and they don't want to trust me or trust my team. But I do know, because I sell investment properties here in Utah still, and Idaho, and I've sold investment properties for 12 years now. I know our returns are probably on average double what you can buy if you're buying a duplex or a fourplex or a smaller property on your own, or even a 20plex or 30plex, because of that scale and because of our reputation and the deals that we're seeing that you're just never going to see. Any follow-up questions, Larry, to that?
That was a great explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. Great explanation. So from a risk management standpoint, so I'm going to give you a firm $100,000, or let's use Annabelle's original, deal structure. So I'm giving you $100,000, to do some type of investment. What happens with my money? How am I protected? And if you can talk to the group about what your kind of loss, provisions are, or if you had any losses previously as well.
Yeah, really good questions. I've never lost money in real estate. I'll start with that. Warren Buffett, it's his number one rule in investing: never ever lose money. Rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So I've never lost money, and I can say that confidently. We've made a little bit less money on deals here and there than we wanted to, but we've always made good money. And I buy less deals to ensure I don't buy the wrong deal. As far as how you're protected, these are SEC regulated investments. So what you will do is before you wire us any money, you will go through probably a 99-page, 120-page document that says, don't invest with Sam. This is high risk. You could lose everything. He could go to the Bahamas with your money. Then he'd go to prison, but you'd still, so the SEC wants to talk you out of investing with me. And we disclose our entire business plan. We disclose everything in that document. And so we are highly regulated by the SEC. I don't look good in stripes. I don't want to go to prison. So we do everything by the book. But there are shady operators out there. And, my best example is a guy I know, and he's done deals since this deal. He's done a ton of deals, raised a ton of money. He bought a property in Shreveport, Louisiana, underfunded the rehab by $2 million. So within 6 months, he went back to investors and said, hey, so sorry, I need $2 million because we're not done with the rehab. We have vacant units. We're not cash flowing. And in COVID, we saw a lot of people doing the same thing. It's called a capital call. They did a capital call because they overestimated their ability to cash flow. Anyway, so you're protected by the SEC. You know, our SEC attorney is open to you. So anytime you have legal questions, we pay him a lot of money to know all the rules, and he works with huge firms other than us. And anytime you have a question about legalities, you can talk to him free of charge. But long story short, we have a really good track record. We've never lost money, and we don't intend to start. And so we're very careful about what we purchase. And I'm also very careful about my partners. So in 2018, I left a 7-figure job of building fourplexes and selling fourplexes all over Idaho, Utah, and Texas because of partners I felt like were not honest. And I called them out, and they actually asked me to leave. So I questioned their integrity, and I didn't appreciate that. So moving forward, my goal has been to only work with fun, team-oriented people who are honest and have integrity. And there's just really no room for that. Otherwise, there's, you know, I left a job, and they basically said, you can choose between covering for us and you can make your 7 figures, continue making your 7 figures, or you can and keep your mouth shut, or you can leave. And I chose to leave because there's no amount of money I feel that can justify not having integrity. And so the people I choose to work with, like this San Antonio deal, Steve Breton, you know, we have a little bromance for the last 3-4 years. Like, we've never worked together, but we've been friends and watched each other's deals. And he has a reputation for being way overly conservative. So do I. And we finally worked together on El Paso and now San Antonio. And it's been fun because we just think the same. We're like, no, too risky. No, too risky. No, if it doesn't have an easy exit strategy, an easy way to make sure that we have no risk of loss, we're not doing the deal. But yeah, long story short, you're protected by the SEC, and I don't want to go to prison.
Does that SEC protection applies to all your deals, whether you're an accredited investor or not?
Yes. So if we were to do a deal that did not, like we did one in Cleveland that did not require accredited investors, we're not able to advertise those. So the SEC regulates how we raise money. But we still filed with the SEC, even if you're not accredited. So there may be a deal here or there in Utah that is not done through the SEC. You still have protections, though, as like a partner or a limited partner, or even just a regular partner on a deal with me here in Utah. Like, we're building a 9-plex right now. You still have the same legal recourse that you would. And ultimately, it's about vetting the deal and educating yourself and vetting your partners as well. Let's see, just got a question. Any deals coming up with minimum investment, like maybe 25,000, minimums for teachers, firemen, police officers, etc. Yeah, like the 9-plex that we're building in, well, crossing our fingers, we get accepted by the city, but if we build that one. So if you're not accredited, then those smaller deals, we'd be happy to have you in, and we don't have a minimum investment for those smaller deals. If you are accredited, but only can do $25,000, just talk to me. And if I like you, I'll let you in the deal.
There you go. Fantastic. I love it. Great information. All right, last call for questions, because we're coming up to, we've got a few more minutes here.
Annabelle, I would just add, if you're looking at inflation and what the market's doing, you're not putting your money to work, whether it's through this or something else, you're losing a lot of money to inflation. So whatever investment you find, you want to put your money into, make sure it's beating inflation significantly. And inflation right now for us is 10%. So in some sectors, in multifamily, rents, if you own or if you rent a home. So for us, or for me, that's what I have a loyal following of investors. I'm telling them, you better not have money in the bank. Like, have your nest egg, have your rainy day fund, but all the rest of your money, you better be putting somewhere else where you're beating inflation. Because otherwise your money's going to be worth what, a third or half of what it's going to be worth in the next 10 years if it just sits there in the bank.
I agree. And really, this is the best way to create generational wealth and continue, just continue to have that there and continue to invest. And I mean, I can tell you guys just from my personal experience, it's awesome. I mean, I look forward to raising capital somewhere else to invest it in, my different projects. Because I know that these projects will appreciate, right? I'm moving my money and I'm getting some cash flow. So.
And you said it best, honestly, Annabelle, buy crappy properties in good locations. It's just all about the basics. It's when you look at this can be
Yes.
intimidating for a lot of people,
Right.
but it's all about the basics. If you're scared to drive through the neighborhood, you probably shouldn't buy there. There's parts of South Dallas, parts of Cleveland, East Cleveland, Larry. I drove through and I was like, yeah, I feel like I shouldn't probably get out of my car. There's parts of Salt Lake here where I'm like, yeah, I don't even go to that part. Even if it's a good deal, I don't go there. So Annabelle, you hit it on the head. We want ugly properties in great locations because that's a tried and true principle. And so we stick to the basics like that.
Yep. All right. Well, very good. Sam, you did an awesome job. Thank you as always.
No, thank you.
For sharing this info. And if anyone wants some more information, you guys feel free to email me or Sam, whichever. We will, we'll make sure to get you some information. Very good. Thanks, Larry. Yes, feel free to connect. And I will see you guys. Oh, next Wednesday, I have a lender who specializes in multifamily financing, and she is going to break it down for those that, are curious to know the down payment and payments and just interest rates and just like all of it. She's breaking it all down. So I urge you guys to come back next week. And in the meantime, have an amazing week and, productive. And I will see you guys next week. Take care.
Yeah, everyone. Thank you, Annabelle.